Hi, and welcome back to the Judith Daniel LC podcasting. This is a life coaching podcast where I give tips, advice, perspective, inspiration, and motivation to start your journey. Today, we are on episode 16 in the new podcast. You can see the throwbacks. And yes, thank you for your questions. I will put them in their own playlist so they're easier to find. So I'm probably going to do that today. But I do love when you guys send the questions because I need to know what you need because I'm here for you. If you want to know everything that I got going on, from the layered affirmations to the life coaching to the Futures Club programming and my LTC program, the Life Transformation Course, you can visit judithdaniellc.com to get all that. And be free to, or be, let me see, how do I want to put this? If you have a question, don't hesitate. Okay? That's the only way we get things progressing and going. Is I need you to have that confidence to jump out there and be like, yo, I don't know this. And I'm going to be like, I'm so glad you asked. Okay, let's see what we can do about that. So, here we go. Now, for episode 16, we are talking about tips on financial well-being and planning. And when I'm talking about that, I'm not talking about, okay, if you save $1 today and $17 every day after that, and you double it on the weekend. No, that you figure out what works best that way. Mine is a more grounded approach because financial well-being isn't just about money. It's about peace of mind, self-respect, and freedom of choice. And when you take control of your finances, you take control of your future. Financial planning builds confidence because it transforms uncertainty into direction. It reduces stress, sharpens your decision making, and fosters a sense of security that allows you to focus on growth instead of survival. A healthy financial mindset reminds you that abundance begins with awareness, discipline, and consistency, not luck, not a buttload of cash. You know what I'm saying? And the more intentional you become with your resources, the stronger and more confident you feel in every area of your life. And I want to say that the first time it clicked to me, Minister Jesse Duplantis, who is a pastor out of Louisiana, was doing a sermon on it's in the crumbs, I believe. Or it's in the pieces, right? And that made sense to me because I had all of these things that I was doing, but I never seemed to, it wasn't that I didn't have enough, but it's like I don't have enough at the right times. And it wasn't just about building a budget, but it was about accounting for everything that's coming in, all the little bits, because all those little bits add up to a lot if you let them. If you actually see and take accountability for everything that's coming in. Because you might think, oh, I'm getting, $5, $6 here, and then I get like 20 to 100 here. And then over on this side, when I'm maybe my employment, I'm getting like, 3,000 or so a month. And, there's all these things. But when you add it up, oh, shoot, this is about 5,000 a month. And my rent is only, and my electric is only, and my blah, blah, blah is only, right? Because we're looking at it from a whole, this is all I get in a month. I have to do all this. And I don't know where it's going to come from because I know this has to go here and this has to go here. And then so the timing is off because this came up and now I can't do A, B, and C. But if we take a look at all the fractions, we look at the time that it comes in, and then even breaking it down to an every 2-week thing instead of a month, shows you how you can have more in your pocket every 2 weeks if you're not trying to compact all the bills into one paycheck. So let's say because generally everything is due on the first of the month, right? Or between the 1st and the 15th. And so you're getting paid every 2 weeks, right? And you're like, okay, but dang, I don't have enough this week to pay everything. Well, don't look at it as paying everything. Look at it as, what does it take for the whole month? And then break it down into bite-sized pieces. If I'm only getting paid twice in a month, and I'm only getting $3,000, it's like, what else can I can't do nothing, because that, my rent is, let's say, $1,000, right? And I get paid, what would that be? About $2,500 about $1,500 every 2 weeks to make it $3,000 in a month. So then let's break it down by every 2 weeks instead of trying to push everything to the first of the month. Because when you start to break it down, then you see, oh, I could have money in my pocket for this 2 weeks, and I could have this taken out for these things. And then the next week I could do the same thing. So I'm never giving up all of what I have. And now I have a way to put $50 in savings a month, when I thought I didn't have nothing, because I'm trying to push everything into that 2-week paycheck. And it's going to take a little bit of sacrifice to getting ahead at least a month in order to be able to break it down every 2 weeks and you not fall behind. Now you know what's coming in for you, right? And then some of the things you might think, oh, well, they're too small to count. No, count everything. And then if your major payday is every 2 weeks, break all your bills down into every 2 weeks. So then you know exactly what it would be to give it up on a 2-week basis instead of every month. Right? So let's say, just generically, if my rent is $1,000, my electric is $300. That is $1,500 a month, right? And we know there's all other kind of bills or whatever, but I'm just trying to keep it, So I got $1,300. So how do you break that in half? Well, we know if I do 600 and 600, that's 1,200. So 650 and 650, that's 1,300. And if my 2-week paycheck is 1,500, and I'm just taking 600 out of there, and we know everybody gets taxes and all that taken out, I can still buy groceries on a 2-week basis. It doesn't have to be a big bulk once a month, right? So now I'm only taking $650 out of my check, and it's a $1,500 check, and let's say they take $300 out for taxes and all that, right? So now, out of my $1,500 check every 2 weeks, I have $1,100. Okay, so then I know I want to take $650 out. And let me pull up my handy dandy notebook. If I have $1,100 and I'm taking $650 out of that paycheck, I'll have $450 left over for myself. Or maybe there's a phone bill that's only $50. Now I got $400 left over for myself. And maybe I want to buy some groceries. And I know it takes about $200 to do groceries for 2 weeks. Now I have $200 left over for myself. So every week or every pay period, every 2 weeks, I'll have $200 left over to do whatever with for my entertainment or whatever. And all the major things are going to be taken care of. So I'll have a roof over my head, I'll have electricity, and I'll have, whatever else it is. And instead of trying to do a bulk everything one time a month, break it down into bite-sized pieces so you still have something in your pocket. But that wasn't even the subject for today. That was just a little tidbit of how I had to start doing things in order to see what I actually had to work with. And I can build a savings. I can go and get my coffee if I want to every other day. I don't have to deprive myself of stuff. But I have to look at it for what it is. And I'm taking into account everything that's coming in, not just the every 2 weeks, but if that's all you have, you can do that too. You understand? And it's like with the times that we're living in, break it down into bite-sized pieces for you. Make that sacrifice for 1 month and do what you need to do to come ahead. And then start breaking it down. And the only reason why I say it like that is because some of the pay periods, they fall on like the 5th or, something like that, and you don't want to be behind. So if you get ahead and then you're able to start that every 2 weeks, now you'll be a half a week ahead of everything. So what I really wanted to talk about today, but maybe somebody needed to hear that because they're getting overwhelmed. But if you break it down, you'll see that you have what you need and then some. And then if you need to cut back on certain things, like we had like 7 streaming services. And I'm like, for what? When there's Tubi for free, right? Or I can pay per year when I get my when I get my taxes back, right? My income taxes. So now we have streaming for the whole month. And everything else you need, you take your behind to YouTube. Or, something like that. But there's a way to do it without being so, especially not when it's just entertainment, as far as streaming services go. Because, we might as well go back to cable at some point because there's so many, right? So don't let it overwhelm you. Don't think you have to have what they have. Tubi is great. Tubi is financially sound. Yeah, I'm going to get some commercials, but I'm all right with that. You know what I mean? And then now I think we just have 4 or 5. I know it's not a big breakdown, but it's easier on my pockets every month. And I don't even have to worry about half of them through the year. So you figure out what works for you, but we still can make it, even with what's going on. And you watch those videos on them women who know how to coupon. And you watch them videos on with those people that know how to stretch $1 for food. You understand? There is a way to make it, a way to survive, and a way to do it well. So don't get so overwhelmed that you just give up. Don't let it come to that point when there's so many resources out there. We just have to look. We have to be a little more diligent. And we have to invest in what really matters, that we really want to have, instead of just everything because everybody else is. Because I don't even watch TV like that, right? And maybe I only wanted to see the rest of Stranger Things. So then I don't even need to turn on that subscription until November. And then I'm going to do a recap of everything and then watch the whole new season and have it maybe 2 months. And then I'm going back to the others that I really like. Or then I'm going back to what's feasible for my budget. You understand? You do what's best for you and forget everything else. Nobody else matters but you and how you're running your estate. Right? And how you're keeping it afloat and how you feel when you're doing it. That's what matters. And if you feel like you have it under control, you have it under control. And if you feel like you're overwhelmed, take a second, take a step back and breathe, and then really put it into bite-sized pieces. Okay? Now, what I wanted to talk about is developing a positive money mindset. Replace the fear and guilt with gratitude and awareness. We just talked about that. Everything that you want to do, you can do with what you have. And when you're ready to expand or do more, there's a way to get more, to do more. But let's say right now, if you have a job, you have a place to stay, break it down into bite-sized pieces and create a clear and realistic budget. Okay? Track everything. What is your income? And I know it'd be like boring, right? That's why I can't even be on the treadmill too long, because it's boring to me. Stuff get boring real fast. I don't even, well, I'm in Aries, so that might have something to do with it. But be realistic about what you have coming in. And if you got $50 coming in from this place, every week, because you're helping them with something, but you're like, that's just $50. Well, that $50 can really add up. Okay? That $50 can be a phone bill. That $50 can add into the groceries. That $50 can be your allowance, where you don't got to pull from your daily job, or your regular job, in order to pay for things. You understand? There's a way to do everything and have fun. You really can live. Just make sure you're putting all the pieces together. And once you start doing that, you'll be able to start saving a little bit and putting together an emergency fund. Even if it's just $50, or you're saying, hey, that $50 that I'm getting over there, I'm just going to put it away. And we're not going to touch it unless there is a true emergency. And you would be surprised at how many emergencies you don't have. You would absolutely be surprised. Because some, if not a lot of those emergencies, are coming from other people having their hand out for you to help them. And we are living in a time where you have to put the mask on yourself first. And it's okay to be okay with that. Because if I have 72,000 children, and it's just me bringing in all the money and the stuff that we need, but then you're a single person and you're asking me for money, you're not one of my children, and you're single, it's just you. I'm sure you can come up with more than I can. Get out there and do what needs to be done. And it's okay to stand on business and be like, no, I have all my bills that I pay by myself. I have all my 50,000 children. I have me, and there's certain things that I want. And if I give it to you, then I won't have for me. And what all, of course, I'm sure you have bills, but it's just you. It's just you. You can find a way. You know what I mean? Because it's easier to come up with like $50 to $100 than for me to come up with way more than that, because I need for everyone. So, be okay with establishing boundaries and prioritizing yourself and your savings. And you don't have to give anyone your savings. I don't care, you got $2,000 you just put into savings, right? Over the last 6 months, let's say. And somebody's like, you were going over your budget, trying to show other people how to do it. And you tell them, yeah, and I have $2,000 in savings. And then, I have this coming in on a regular basis. And I only have this that I'm, giving out, because we minimized some things. And I got it under control to where I'm not overwhelmed with what's going out versus what's coming in. And then they're like, oh, wow, you're in a great place now. Let me borrow. Even at that moment, if you say, oh, no, I don't have it. That is the honest truth, because you don't have it for someone else. And why would you go into your savings to give to someone else when you're not even spending it on you? It's okay to be like, no, I'm showing you how to do this. Now you look at what you have coming in, and then you figure out how to make it work for you too. Yes, it's going to take a little bit of sacrifice. No, you're not going to be able to buy product like that if you don't have it to take care of your bills first. You know what I mean? And then some of the bills you have, do you really need to have those as bills? Is that really a life and death kind of thing for you? If you're asking me for money, but this is what you spend your money on? It's okay to put that into perspective and to say no. Because I know if my children need this, they're going to come first. And I was planning on doing something with that. I have, in one of my throwback podcasts, talking about just that and people's intention. And Just listen through all of them. 'Cause there's a lot of nuggets in all those things. So when you're establishing your emergency fund, keep doing it. And that's okay. It's not for anyone else. No, you can't have someone borrow from that, right? Because 10 times out of 10, people are not going to be able to give it back. Okay? And that's not something you want to put yourself in a position of not having if you need it. And so then we start to reduce and manage debt, what do I want to say, strategically. Like, again, do I need these bills? Do I need to have these as bills? Or can I cut down on that too? Instead of having this car that costs $700 a month, can I get something for $1,500 and be done with it? And be like, oh, I own it, so I don't got to pay any more out. So now I just opened up $700 a month. You see? Or are you just keeping this big, flashy, costly thing because someone else might talk bad about you if you don't have it? I'm raising the middle finger to that if you can't see me, or, you don't hear it in the air. No, what do we need to do that for? Who are we trying to impress? We are trying to get established in security and freedom of choice. Not to be out here being flashy to someone else who's not even going to help you pay that bill. We don't keep up with the Joneses. We keep up with us and what we can do. And that's okay. And anyone who wants to make you feel bad because you can't be big and flashy, see where they are in just a little while. Because it might work for them, but now you got $700 you can put towards a house payment. Now you got $700 you can put in your emergency fund every month. Now you can take yourself out to dinner every month, maybe weekly, and just be like, go ham, like seafood boils everywhere. You know what I'm saying? The only reason I say that is because they get a little costly, because I like to add stuff and extra lobsters. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? That's what I'm doing that for stuff that I like and stuff that I like to consume. And if I'm working remotely, I got a car outside that's paid for. What am I upgrading that for if I don't drive but twice, 3 times a week? Just to say I got it? Put myself in debt to say I got it? That's crazy. No. Because we're not just planning for right now, we're planning for the future and what we want to have. And if you can find a way to cut back money in order to, and even if it's $100, $200, that's an extra $100 to $200 that you have, and you're able to take care of everything. Don't that feel better? To be able to put $200 or so away instead of towards a bill that if you miss a payment, they're going to take it from you anyway. So then all that would have been worth nothing. That's how my mind works. I want to own it or I don't want it. You know what I mean? On the things that I can be like, okay, all right, yeah, okay. we don't need this right now. And then invest in financial education. Research a budget that looks closer to what your income level looks like. And then how are they doing it and making it? What is their housing situation about? Am I paying this $2,300 a month mortgage, or rental, when I could take that down to maybe $1,300 to $1,500? And then, oh my goodness, I got almost $1,000 extra to put on groceries, to put away, to pay off bills, to, do anything else with. Don't be afraid to downgrade. That's the first thing you do in a company. When stuff's starting to get out of hand, or you're like, oh, hold on, we're going in our fourth quarter and we're not in the black. We need to downgrade. You understand? Treat yourself like you matter that much. Because it matters to you and you are worth it to be comfortable. And if you can make it look pretty on 2300, just think how much more you can make that money last if you get something that's a little cheaper. And cheaper does not actually have to mean worse off. It just means you're being more considerate for yourself and what your goal is. And that's always a good thing. And align your finances with your values. And set some short-term and long-term financial goals. Where do you want to be in 6 months? How much do you want to have saved in 6 months? What are you going to have to do? Because it's not like you can't pick it up later and go back to that. But for right now, we're trying to build something. And for this next year, we want to build something. So we're going to downgrade to a cheaper residence. We can still get the nicest, littlest house in the best neighborhood. It doesn't have to be the biggest one. And then review everything and adjust regularly. So even if you take a year to just like, I got to build this savings. We can't have this car payment no more. We need to go ahead and buy one, about $2,000, buy a little car that can do everything we need it to do. And then we're done. We don't got to pay out every month because that extra money is going to go to blah, 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 blah. And then after a year, you're like, okay, hey, now we're ready for that car payment because we got enough saved up. We got an emergency fund. And I don't have to use that for nothing. And we've got it worked out to where we're doing everything every 2 weeks instead of every month and just doing a bulk of something. So yeah, we can afford it. Okay, so now let's go and look for another car that's a little better than the one we have. You see what I'm saying? But you took that year to actually save and put aside what you needed to put aside. And then you can go right back to where you were. I'm not saying treat life like a roller coaster, but I am saying when you up, you up. And when you need to go down that slope, go down the slope. And then you're going to go right back up. And you're going to be in a better position when you get to the top of that mountain. So, make sure that you are doing things for you financially that are going to benefit you. And you're putting the mask on yourself first. Especially if you're doing it alone. Because you are what matters. And everybody that got their hand out, I'm sorry, you can't help them. You help you and yours first. And when I say yours, I mean the people living under your roof or your child. That's all. It's you and your children. Or if you have a 2-income household and y'all are doing well, you still don't have it to just give away to people. Take care of what you need to take care of for you to feel good first. And if other people can't understand that, well, that's not your problem now, is it? All right, I'm going to get out of here. Because But if you have any questions, if you want to know what I have going on and what I'm offering, JudithDanielLC.com. And until next time, deuces.